Good morning. This is what I got going on. You can get the Art of Holding Business Credit Plan, the corporate papers, the corporate toolbox, all that stuff's below in that first link. So go ahead and grab that. All right, so what I want to talk about today is you guys got to do the work. I've been getting phone calls from people who are looking at my chapter 60 and ignoring chapters 1 through 12. So let's go ahead and talk about chapters 1 through 12. When I was in the storage auction business, I used to work 12, 16 hours a day. And I've consistently brought that up. And you know what I get? I don't want to hear about that. Essentially, you have people who feel that they can get around doing the work. They can get around setting themselves up. They can get around doing all these things that they need to do to be successful, right? And one of the things that you have to understand is the work is very, very important to your success. And there's no way you can get around it. Essentially, I'll tell you about a message that I got from someone. He was about 34 years old. He was like, hey, I've been following you. And, I got a few questions and stuff. And he literally tried to call me and, that didn't work. So he sent me a long email. And this is one of the things that I find to be very, very intriguing. I have people out there in the space who want to talk to me, who want information, and there is no speaking or mention of payment whatsoever. So typically, I know that's going to be a really bad call or message, so I don't even get into it because he went on and just talked about all the things he wanted to do and stuff, and he had no substance. I was just sitting there and I wrote him back. I was like, look, if you want to get into a mentorship or something like this, we could discuss that. But, I actually did not give him any insights or feedings off. And dude got pissed off and started saying all kinds of crazy stuff. And I was just sitting there like, why? Well, actually, I do know why. I know why I continue to draw these people because when I came to the YouTube space, I said I was homeless. I lived in a boarding house and I worked my way out of that. Operating phrase, worked my way out of it. And this is one of the biggest things is, right now there's a lot of information on YouTube. There's so many creators coming to the space with their concepts, their ideals, and YouTube's gotten really, really crowded. Really, really crowded. And one of the things that you have to understand is the truth leaves details. The truth has a methodology of putting out proper things. So one of the things that you have to understand and you have to look at and also know what's going on, because the work, now I like the work. So I enjoyed the hours put into the storage auction business stuff because I enjoyed the storage auction business. I enjoyed going to the auctions. I enjoyed going through the contents of the storage units after we bought them. I enjoyed selling. I enjoyed the whole process. So even though I was working 12, 16 hours a day, it was a process that I enjoyed. Now, many of you have not found your thing that you enjoy doing that much. Many of you have not, because, I just kind of look back and, when I was doing the writing for free and I was doing all this other stuff, and I just continue to look back and I continue to have an understanding and I continue to actually get into a position where I could understand the value of work. Because so many people do not want to do the work. They're looking for some kind of hack. They're looking for some methodology some secret ploy that will actually get them around. Give you an example. In the credit space, I'm really moving into the credit space, and I have seen so many people blatantly lie about the things that you can do, the things that you can present, the things that you have the potential to bring to the table, the things that you feel that you can bring to the table, the things that you have somewhat of an understanding, what you think that you have a better understanding than you actually do. So one of the things that you guys have got to understand, you got to do the work and build it up. Like, I'll explain some of the work that I'm doing. Like right now, I'm in a position where this month I'm gonna be taking a lot of sales calls. And for me to launch off this new project, I have to do the work, and a lot of people say, well, just hire someone. And every time I hear someone say, just hire someone, I know I'm speaking to someone that has never had a business, because hiring people to do certain jobs is hard. Now, the first thing is I got to work out the sales methodology. I got to work out all this other stuff. And one of the things that I had to do is, like, my sales calls were too long. They were like 45 minutes. Then I went ahead and brought it down to 20 minutes. And we're going to run that this week and see how that goes. So, but I got to do the work, because, let me go ahead and explain to you what it would cost for me. Like, there's one company I work with. It would cost $6,000 for them to find someone with no guarantee that this person is going to work out. $6,000 to find a sales representative with no guarantee that this person is going to work out, no guarantee that this person is going to stay. And that's just kind of one of the situations. When you're doing the work, and let's go ahead and talk about, and let's go way back in time with the storage auction business. I had to do the work. I had to get up, fight the traffic, go to the auctions, bid on the units. Then I had to pay for the units. Then I had to unload the units. And then I had to bring the units back to my warehouse. Then we had to go through the sorting process. This goes on eBay, this goes on Amazon, this goes on Craigslist, this stays in the warehouse for the upscale garage sale. And then I had to post 100 ads per day on Craigslist. 100 ads per day on Craigslist. And, one of the things that, is starting to distress me, because right now we have an affordability issue in the economy. We have affordability issue. And we have a lot of people who just don't want to work an extra job or work those hours. There's this thing that's called work-life balance. Everyone is looking for a job with minimum training that they can go in and make 80 to 100K, and then have weekends off and evenings off and not have to do overtime. And let me go ahead and tell you, you're looking for a fantasy. Let me explain to you what's getting ready to happen. Right now, there's a number of YouTubers who've put up housing crashed, housing prices going to fall. 10 years from now, the people will look at the housing prices of today and say that these housing prices were cheap. 10 years in the future, 20 years in the future, it's going to be worse. Housing prices are not going to crash. The last time that we had a housing price crash was due to them giving anybody and their mother a mortgage, because we had a lot of people who could not afford to maintain a house, couldn't afford the payments. That's not the case now. People are more than qualified who are buying houses. So we're not going to have this big housing crash. But once again, everyone is waiting. And this comes back with doing the work. If you were, I saw this person, this woman, she's a nurse, and she kept talking about she makes good money, her husband makes good money. And, it's like how we're doing this, how we're affording this, right? And I know a nurse right now who's making more money than she's ever made before. Now, what's the difference between the nurse that I know and this nurse that was on TikTok? a lot of people want to go to TikTok to complain. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to find a solution. They don't want to open up any doors. They just want to go to TikTok to complain and to talk about what is happening in their lives. Now, the nurse I know, she actually went to school and she got another degree, and then she moves into the nurse anesthetist department, and she makes $300K a year. $300K a year. She makes more money than she's ever made. She's not making TikTok videos, but once again, she was a nurse, then she went to school, and she kept doing the work. So you got to keep doing the work, because I have a lot of people who will, whenever I make something free, and this is one of the things I'll get calls from unqualified people. Now, what are unqualified people? Have no job, have no credit, have no motion, have no money. And they want to talk to me because they believe in this fantasy that if they got that knowledge, just pure knowledge, without any work, that they can make some moves in life with no money, no credit, nothing. And typically that's not the case. That's just not how it works. But one time I did some phone calls, and 35% of the people who called me didn't have a job. These folks were hoping to get some of that free knowledge where they could literally go out and set the world on fire. And here's the thing. All of those people, I reached out to those people. All those people are still suffering. The people who didn't have a job, the people who didn't have any money, the people, and this whole thing of getting out of doing the work, getting out of setting up the ploy, getting out of doing the things that they needed to do to make more money. They did not want to do the work. They did not want to situate themselves where they could actually do things that they needed to do to make more money. So the work is very, very important. The work is really, really important. And, I get people asking me the silliest questions because they don't do the work. They're not really prepared to do the work. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to go out. Literally, if you wanted to make some money, I was speaking to someone who's an electrician, and I got to go out and reach back out to him. And essentially, these people, he wants to do something else. He's an electrician. I was like, do you know how much money you can make if you set yourself up correctly as an electrician corporation? He don't want to do that. He wants to, he kept saying, I want to have my personal brand. And you have a skill set that pays a lot of money if you deploy it. You want to, because once again, it's doing the work, setting up, like me. I got to set up sales calls. I got to talk to people. I got to do the work to make this new business work out. There's no way that I can avoid doing the work for this business to be successful. It's a mandatory part of the business. And one of the things that I consistently see is that people don't want to do the work. This electrician, he wants to do, create a personal brand. He kept saying, have a personal brand and all this other stuff. It's going to be compelling. And I asked him a really simple question. I was like, have you started? And he's like, no. I was like, why haven't you started? He's like, well, procrastination. So once again, all of this stuff is to avoid doing the work, to avoid putting yourself out there. Faceless YouTube channels. Everyone is crazy about faceless YouTube channels. I'll probably do a whole video talking about what's going on with YouTube. But typically, people don't want to do the work, don't want to open up those doors, don't want to create a situation where they can become quite comfortable after some time from doing the work. When I was in sales, this was my typical day. I don't have my phone. Let's pretend this passed my phone. We'll get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I will start making sales calls. I would make sales calls from 6 to 9. And believe it or not, I actually got people on the phone because I caught a lot of business owners in their office because a lot of them came in early. Then from 9 to about 2 to 3, I would go on appointments, sales appointments. And sometimes I would go on appointments to 5 or 6 p.m. And this was every day, Monday through Friday. And because I was doing the work, I saw success in sales. I did not have a 20-hour week, a 30-hour week. My week was like 60 hours. And then when I took on the other work, my hours went up to 75, 80 hours. And you have to do the work. You have to put the time in. You have to do that to be successful as you move forward into life. You have to go ahead and do this. All right. So for those of you who are prepared to do the work, we'll be talking about a lot of things like, sales. We'll be talking about holding companies. We'll talk about business credit. And you'll get the truth about business credit. You'll get the truth about that. All right. So there are some more videos here. Be sure to watch all the videos. This YouTube channel is 2 months old, so you can watch all the videos so you can stay up to date. And each video has value for you. So go ahead, watch another video. There should be some stuff right here. Go ahead and watch this other video.